Hello and welcome to another Solana tutorial. Today we're gonna have a look at how we can get the metadata from a token 2022 token with Gill. Sounds simple, right? Should be simple. Not sure if it actually is simple, but that's why we're making this video. I have the topic for this from a Stack Exchange question because I was just casually browsing the Solana Stack Exchange as you do on a Friday morning, and then I saw, well, I'm going to show you, the Solana Stack Exchange is so bright. I hate this. There is still no dark mode for this and I don't like it. But anyway, here, literally right at the top, how to get metadata of a token 2022 using Gill. And I was like, that can't be so difficult. So this person is trying to get the metadata of a token 2022 token, so a token with token extensions, and they're not doing it right, but they're using Gill. And then a few years later, they actually found a solution from Gill programs, which has the fetch mint, and now they're doing this. But I'm like, hold on, that can't be the solution. There must be a better way to do this because you're twice accessing fields that kind of look private. So if you don't know, J. Frank and whoever works with TypeScript, which should be all of you, in case you don't know, there isn't really a way to mark something as private because underlying it's all just JavaScript, and JavaScript really doesn't care. As long as there's a name, it will let you access that. So there is no good way to, protect variables or functions, fields of an object. So this extensions object has an option, an underscore option, but underscore means that the developers of this thing don't want you to use it. If you're accessing something with underscore and it's not your own library, then you're probably not doing it right. And I'm not saying that what you're doing is wrong, although yes, I am saying that. But also, it works. It's just not good practice to ever access fields that start with underscore because they start with underscore because the designers of this library were like, please don't use this. This should be internal only. So we gotta figure out how to properly do this such that we can give a proper answer here. Because we're doing it twice. Also here from the extension, you shouldn't access this directly. I don't know how it's done properly though. So we gotta look at that. And that's what we're here for today. And then also somebody points out that it's a great fix, but it's worth clarifying that the metadata isn't necessarily stored in the mint. We do need to check the metadata pointer extension, which can be used with a metadata extension. We did make a video about metadata and metadata pointer extension. Find that up there on the very video production level high. Okay, let's do some coding. This is too bright for me anyway. Get me a nice IDE with a dark mode. And here, what are we doing? T22 metadata. So he said he wants to use Gill, and he also already found that he needs to use Gill programs. Is that an extra import? Let's see. I'm just gonna borrow your solution and then we see how we can improve it. Sorry for the black and white. Cannot find Gill program. Starting point is a baseline. Okay, so there seems to be Gill programs. It finds that in Gill, that's good. And all of that we need to set up ourselves. How do you get a client? You get the token from a pool. Yeah, fine. We need a token for this. So maybe let's first review, how do you do tokens with metadata? Wait, first, I have one sol. Amazing. Do I want a separate key for this? Yeah. Grind. First of all, I need an authority. AUT even works. And then a token with metadata. Okay. And then we set the config to the authority and airdrop ourselves some sol. And then we can say SPL token create token with metadata address. Specify address that stores token metadata. I could reference myself here though, I think. Group address. I don't think we actually made a video specifically on groups. That's like collections. I don't remember ever having used that, so maybe I want to have a look at that in some other video. For now, we just talk about metadata. Enable metadata, that's important. Enables metadata in the mint. The mint authority must initialize the metadata. So we definitely need to do this. Yeah, let's just do enable metadata and metadata address. Yes. So enable metadata and metadata address. And the address will be the token with metadata. That's the address. The token mint itself will be the address for the metadata, because the token mint will also store the metadata, because we're using both the metadata pointer and the token metadata extensions. We'll have a look at that, don't worry. And then I say again this address with the whole JSON, so the whole key pair, use this as my token mint key. Anything else that I want, I kind of like it to have this a closable mint, just in case I mess something up, that I can close it again and use the same key pair for doing it again. Yeah, so let's also enable close, why not? But that should be good now. Yes, the argument enable metadata cannot be used with metadata address. So when I say enable metadata, you probably do the metadata address pointing to yourself in the first place. So I won't need to do this. Okay, oops, there you go. Try this then. Creating token. Incorrect program ID. You are very correct. We do indeed need to tell you that you should use the program 2022. Program minus 2022. But then, yeah, here we go. We have the token with metadata. Woo! With 9 decimals. I.e. that's the signature. Not too interested in a transaction itself. More interested in the account. Let's check the account. Here we go. Doesn't that look good? So we have 270 bytes as data. We have this as the mint authority. This is probably my pub key. And we can check that, as you saw in the last video, by reading my key pair file. Oh, except there it's in decimals anyway. What's the quickest way for me to find the hex representation of my pub key? I mean, I know that it is my pub key, but I want to still prove it. And again, don't do this at home. Well, but don't show anybody that you're doing this. But I'm gonna just hex dump my actual authority key pair. No, that's not what I want. Is it what I want? Maybe it's what I want. Nah, because that JSON, that's text. It's just dumping me the ASCII characters. That's more complicated than I thought. Fine, I'll need to load my key pair anyway. Get key in hex. Get me form from. I would like to have a key pair. Since all of that stuff is async, I probably need a function again. Async arrow function that does call it. Where my key pair is key pair. Load key pair from file. Gill has such nice, wonderful helper functions where I can just paste the file name and it will do that. And then I can say get base 16 codec encode. Nope, I actually want decode this time. My key pair pub key. Oh, I should await this. Key pair pub key, which, oh, here I get a crypto key pair. No, there must be a better key pair signer from file then maybe. Then I get a key pair signer, and the key pair signer has an address, which is the pub key. We made a whole video on that as well. Hold on, wait. Whoop, find it here. Yes. So key pair address. Wait, then I need hold on, what do I have now? Base, wait, but now we're working on a string. Oh man, then I first need to get an address, come on, codec, and encode that address to bytes, and then from the bytes decode it as base 16, and that stuff, the hex string, will be a string that I can print. Just in case you want to know how to work with the kit, Gill, whatever. Same, almost. Gill is more than just a kit. Gill exports all of the kit. So, can I now get the key in hex? No, because I thought one day I really need to fix this. Morphic web crypto. I'm not sure if I want to install stuff that ChatGPT tells me. Here, this sounds about right. Author Solana Labs. Oh, it's bright again. Is there no dark mode? Because with NPM packages, like, especially in crypto, you really need to be careful, because some of them are, like, if you install anything, some of them might just read all your keys or whatever. So I don't want to teach you to just install whatever any AI or web page or whatever it tells you to. However, with this one, GitHub answer kit readme, this is the repository. Here it also says it, web crypto API in favor of our custom implementations for use of native JavaScript features. So we need to have those custom implementations. But where do I get those custom implementations? Web crypto polyfill. Ah, there we go. Here it is. Yeah. Here, and that's on the official GitHub answer kit webpage readme. That seems to be the right thing. So that I feel confident adding. And then, do I get the same error? I get the same error. Damn it. Because it's a different one. Solana error crypto random values. Don't find anything on that. If I Google that error, maybe I do need this. I want an official source to tell me this. Oh, I think I've been here. Okay, fine. But you tell me that I don't need to install anything, so I'll just add this. And that should hopefully fix it. Yeah, fix that error. Now I have a different one. Oh, it doesn't know that. Just web crypto. Still no random values. Ooh, what does install do? Was included in an environment that supports key manipulation natively. Falling back to the native version, continuing including this polyfill only in environments where is not supported. So I have support for this. I don't need to install it. Okay, then that's the wrong thing. But how do I get this random thing then? It's in assertion source crypto TS. I guess I just gotta polyfill it up here myself. Cannot find crypto? Sure you can. Then we just get this as a warning, but okay, it works. So we keep coming back to this. At some point I'll fully understand what's going on here. But again, that day is not today. We want to get to metadata. So what I did here now is print the hex string, and it starts with 93, ends with 88 EB. And if we once again look at this account, then we see starts with 93, ends with 88 EB. That's our address. That's the whole point I wanted to make. But then really what's interesting here, looking at the token mint, is after all those zeros, we get the extensions. Although, nope, that's something different still. What's that one? I don't know. I could check state. But here we get the extensions. We have 3 extensions, I think. One is number 20. No, we have 1 extension. And it's number 3 and it has 20 bytes. Sorry, 20. 1, 2. And then I thought the length of the amount of extensions is also somewhere. Isn't it that then? And then we have another extension with 12. Maybe because it's initialized? Because it's there, but the length still has 1. Could that be? That it still says it just has 1 extension and it's this? But then there's still more data here. Anyway, and then we have the extension number 10 with 4 times 16 bytes. 1, 2, 3, 4. That also checks out. So basically we have 2 extensions, not 1. But yeah, we have extension 3 and extension 18. It says 12, but it's hex. Let's go check what those extensions are in the actual source code though. Let's go interface, source extensions. And I remember it was here, but it was like somewhere deep in that file. Extension type, here, there we go. Scrolled there pretty quickly. I know where to find stuff. Line 1056. So we've got 0, 1, 2, 3. A mint close authority. Yes, I did request the mint close authority. That is true. We do have that. Nice. And so that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Metadata pointer is also there. Okay. Token metadata, however, is not there yet. Group pointer also not. Token metadata pointer is kind of there, but it looks like still it's not like properly initialized or something. I don't know. I mean, we can look at it in Explorer as well. If we look at this account, it says we are the mint authority. That checks out. And then it says we have those 2 extensions, the mint close authority. If the supply is 0, I can only close the token if my supply is 0. Interesting. And the metadata pointer, it looks like it has both of those. Both of them are enabled. With that thing, I would expect that I can't click on it. Wow. The close authority is once again my program and is my authority, and the metadata pointer also. There we go. it does set it to itself, to the token mint. That it actually points, because it's a pointer, pointing to itself, meaning that itself stores the metadata. And also I am the authority for that. And we can also read that here. I mean, it makes sense that this one has a length of 20 and this one has a length of 40, because 20 means 32 bytes, which is exactly the length of one pub key. Yes, in this case, it's actually a pub key. It is also an address, but it is a pub key, which is the authority. But I need to start saying address myself as well. And again, it's the 93 to EB. That's my address. And then here we will have the same thing. 93 to EB is my address. And then comes the pointer. That's the actual mint itself. So that's this address in hex then. So it stores the pointer authority and where it points to. And really don't ask me why it says 1 here. Let me research that a bit more. Maybe that's the account type. Could that be? Maybe it indicates that it's a mint. Where does the account type live? Base state with extensions. Base account. It's account length. Ah yeah, so we have the base account length and type, size of account type that is added. Okay, so what that one means is that it's a mint account. So token 2022 apparently stores in the first byte after the regular account length what type of account that is. Token 2022 needs to do that because it can't derive the type from the size of the account. Token kek, the old token program, can do that because it has fixed length for the mint account and the token accounts, and they must have that length. That's how the program checks what type of account it is. But with extensions, both of the accounts can have arbitrary or at least bigger accounts, and then it's not clear which account it is. Therefore, you need that 1 byte indicating whether or not it's a mint, uninitialized, or a token account. And this is a token mint account. So that's what that one means. And then I just misremembered that we don't need to actually store the length of the extensions, like how many extensions there are, because it's a list. And if there are no more, then there are no more. Easy as that. If you add more, then you put them at the back, so you don't need to say how many there are. Cool, simple enough, until you get to a 0 or end of account length, account data length. Okay, so that makes sense. Now that one makes sense to me as well. Those are the 2 extensions. Good. So we understand that. We understand what's in there. We still don't have metadata. How do we set the metadata for that token now actually? SBL token help. Update metadata. Update metadata on a token mint that has the extension. Does it have the extension? I mean, I hope I kind of enabled that, but then it didn't like explicitly put that somewhere in the account, did it? That I have metadata. It has the metadata pointer that points to itself, but that it actually has the token metadata, that extension as well, I didn't set. But let's try if I can update metadata. Let's do dash update metadata. What you need? Oh, it's an, oh sorry, this is not a, it's not an option, it's a command. So you do not dash dash, you say update metadata, like you say create token or whatever. My bad. Update metadata. What do you need? Token mint, field name, value. Okay, which token? The token with metadata. And then field name, value, token with metadata. You don't see that. Invalid account data. See, maybe I messed something up when creating the token, because as I said, the token doesn't have any metadata and I need to initialize that when I create the token. I just don't know how to do that with the CLI. But what I can do is SBL token close, maybe? Yeah, token mint address. So let's close the token with metadata. What do you mean not found? What is this? Token mint address. Token of the associated account to close. What? The associated account you call token mint? That seems to be just wrong. Wait, no, that does make sense. Hold on. Of that mint closing the associated token account. That's what it does. Okay, so then it's not what I want. So I can specify the address for the token account address, but that's the wrong command then. Maybe it's not close. I want to destroy the mint. Mint new tokens, revoke, freeze, display. Close mint. There's a close mint. Aha. Okay. Close mint. What you need? The token mint address. Token to close. There you go. close the mint, the token with metadata. Will that work? Yes. So if I now check that account, it should be empty. Yeah, account not found. It's not a token anymore. Amazing. I love closable mints. So let's do the same thing again that we did in the very beginning when we created the token. Create token, this thing. But make sure that it actually has metadata. How do I add metadata? I'm probably missing an enable. Enable metadata, but that's what we said, right? Enables metadata in the mint. The mint authority must initialize the metadata. Okay, maybe that means something. Maybe I need in the same instruction, like in the same command line instruction, already say what the metadata is. But how do I do that? This alone is already a tutorial by itself. We're 1 hour in and I didn't even create a token. Wow. That reminds me of my first video, how to create a token on Solana. 4 years later, and it's still the same topic. The mint authority must initialize the metadata. Or maybe I just did the wrong thing. Okay, let's do the exact same thing as we had before. That was just testing that we can close the token. Here it says it even. To initialize metadata inside the mint, please run initialize metadata. And what I did is like change metadata or whatever. So just double check the account again. It has the 2, 1, and 2 extensions. And then I run the token initialize metadata. I'm just literally gonna copy this. That's convenient. Your token name, your token symbol, your token URI. Okay, initialize metadata, token with metadata, name, symbol, and URI. Do I need this? HTTPS. This should point where there is actual metadata.com. Yeah, we're just testing stuff. It's fine. But we should have the token with metadata name and TWM as a symbol. That's already enough for my testing purposes. I don't need an actual image and whatever. I'm a developer, not a designer. So let's check the account again. And now it should be longer. Yeah, way longer. Now we have 445 bytes with the same stuff as before. 20, that's the 20. Then this extension, 40, that's the 40. And then this extension number 19, which is the one after the 18, which, scrolling down to line 1000 again, here is the token metadata. Yep. So that's the token metadata extension. It has a length of AB, so 10 down, 11 to the right. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yep, that's it. And you can see in here, first of all, we start again with our pub key. So that is the authority of the token metadata. That's the address that needs to sign in order for the token program to change the metadata. And then we have the actual metadata. The actual metadata starts somewhere here, I think here. So this is another 32 bytes before. What could that be? 06 to 5D. Let me guess, that's the token address itself again, the mint. Could that be? Does that check out? Is it the same as this? I guess so. Yep, that's the same as this. So once again, it has the mint stored in there. Don't ask me why it does that, but it does that. And then we just have strings. So this is 17 long. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here. That's basically this. That's the name. Then we have one that is 3 long. That's just this. That's the symbol. Then we have one that is, you do the math, and that's probably then this, roughly. And then we still have 0 for indicating that there is no more fields in the token metadata. Because you can have custom, because it was name, symbol, and URI, but you can have custom mapping of key value pairs, but there's none of them here. Okay, good. So that's that. That's the really low level stuff, looking at it, because I always want to understand it in order to then know what I'm doing if I need to implement it on a lower level. But Gill will hopefully help us do that without needing to decode that manually. So let my mint be that account that we just looked at. Boom. So we put the mint here, and then we need the client create RPC or client RPC. What do you need? You need an RPC get account info API. Can I have that real quick? Get an RPC to here, use this RPC here, and then we can test this. This is what they are doing. A JFrank person. Let's try and run it, and it does nothing because we're not printing stuff. Let's log this token metadata, and wow, it will work. We will get the metadata for the mint, name, symbol, and URI. That's what you need, right? That's exactly what you want, but you want to access those fields and not these. So let me now finally teach you how we can do this, but better, or like properly. How do you call it? Proper? Let me call it nice. Or we call it by what it does. Get metadata. Yeah, that makes sense. So we define the mint, so far so good. We define the RPC, so far so good. The fetch mint still sounds correct. I think you found the right thing, because you want to get the info for the mint, and that should still work fine. But then, also your formatting is weird. I'm gonna call it token A info. What we get back from here is a promise for an account mint. So let's call this my mint account. And the mint account here has all that nice stuff, because that's an actual account, but we're interested in the data part of that account, and that also already comes decoded because we're fetching a mint, and Gill knows, or the kit knows what a mint looks like. And then we can have extensions, and extensions is an option for extensions. That's why you had this sum here for the option type. But the clean way to do this, and I think I know how to do this, is, well, let's store it first. Token extensions is the extensions of the token, and that's an option. So we can call it maybe token extensions. Maybe there's some. And if is some, that's in Gill because that's in the kit, maybe token extensions. Then my actual token extensions is maybe token extensions value. Don't access the option, access the value. And I can access that value, which is now an extension array, because I did check for the isSum. I can't do this out here. I don't have the value. Here, if you do this, then you just get that option. So obviously you will be like, well, I gotta check for that first. Nah, you don't. You do, but you do use this function that checks for you. I mean, really what it does is it did what you do, right? This isSum basically just maps isSum where option is sum. So yeah, it did the same thing. But this is the way that you're supposed to do it. This is how it looks nice and doesn't access private fields that are not really private because JavaScript doesn't support that, but should be private. Okay, so now we have those token extensions. And now you're doing a similar weird thing where you go through all the types of the token extension to try to find the token metadata, which, fair enough, we can do that. But we do it the clean way. We find the extension where the extension, oh yeah, we just have the kind. Yeah, I see. There must be a better way. If we have such an extension, how do we do this? Hold on. Let's just play around with this. There's probably also such a function, something with extension. And that's how you create an extension probably. Yeah, that's how you create it. And then there is extension encoders. Is extension. That's what we need. Is extension with kind and value. And then we get back the value is extension and that kind. I love TypeScript, but you gotta know that there is this is extension. So the correct way to do this is to say if is extension, and then I give you the kind. What did we check for token metadata? That's the kind, and the value is the extension. Then my extension will now suddenly have all of those things, because now, same as here with the option, if it is some, then all of a sudden we have the value. If it is that extension, then all of a sudden we have those things from that extension and the kind. But you don't want to access the kind directly because that's, guess what, private. Yes, TypeScript. So fun. Okay, so yeah, then we can do all the things with that we want to do, or I don't know, let's just print the name, whatever. However, that will still not work because we're accessing the first one. We would need to be lucky that it's this one, but we're not. We can do it that way how you did it here with a find this extension, bam, and then we just gotta put all of that in here. So we find the extension where it is a token meta extension, and then we have all of that. This is so fun. So we can store it. Metadata extension is this. And then from the metadata extension, we can log the name. However, in this case, it might possibly be undefined because it might not find it. There might not be token metadata. We can also check for that. So this comes from the find now. We could do a for each and then do the if in there, you know, whatever. Or we just say if we don't have a metadata extension, error, this token doesn't have a metadata extension. Here you go. And then we still need to, I don't know, return or get out of here. Then this works down here. And this, my friend, is much cleaner than what you're doing. I'm not saying that it's wrong. It's just you gotta know the kit a bit to know how to properly work with it. That's why I'm making this video, to teach you, such that you and all of your deaf friends can do it correctly with the kit, like this. Although this still doesn't look so nice, there's probably a better way. I mean, I could for each it, but then I'm still not sure. Nah, the find is actually okay. I'm gonna do that. Yeah, and let's prove that that actually works as well. And here, let's get that metadata. Here it is, token with metadata. And it's even neatly typed already. I have the name, I have the symbol, the mint itself that is stored in there. Don't ask me why the mint stores the mint. Let's check it. It should now have another extension. Unknown token. No symbol was found. Refresh. Because it probably gets that from the URI and the URI is just broken. But now it has the three extensions. It has the metadata pointer, the close authority, and token metadata. Allows metadata to be written directly to the mint account. And if we check the extensions, the token metadata, yeah, we see that the mint is written in there. Don't ask me why though, but there is a reason for it. Can I store token metadata of a different token in my token mint? Maybe. Yeah, no additional metadata. There could be, that's what I said, that's what the zeros at the end are. That's an array of additional metadata stuff. And those four are hard-coded in the beginning. Yeah, okay, cool. My TWM, token with metadata, works. And I can read the metadata here like this. But this is also not the real right way to do it. It is the right way to do it, working with the assumption that the metadata is in a token. If you know for sure that the metadata was written into the token mint, then you can do it like that. But the metadata might be written to somewhere else. So the correct way to do it is to get metadata from pointer. So basically we're gonna do the exact same thing, except when we look through the extensions, we're not gonna go find the metadata extension directly. I'm gonna save that for later. But we're gonna find the metadata pointer extension. I'm using very long names. I'm just gonna call it metadata pointer. You know what it is. And then I search for token, what is it called? Metadata pointer. Check if this extension is of type metadata pointer. Then we get the metadata pointer, and this metadata pointer will now have the kind that you don't want to access, the authority, and the metadata address. Oh yeah, we once again need to check that it's actually present. Otherwise we could also here do a, if we don't have a metadata pointer, doesn't have a metadata pointer, and then we don't need this question mark. So then we have the pointer address, which is an address. Now it's an option for an address, because this indeed is an option for an address. The pointer could have been removed or something like that. Like you can have a metadata pointer extension that points nowhere. For that case, if, let's do the opposite, is none, that's the contrary check to the is some. So if I want to have such a guard like here, I'm checking for none first. If the metadata pointer metadata address is none, then I'm going to say another error. The metadata pointer doesn't point anywhere. And then afterwards we can say the pointer address. Oh no, you're not smart enough here then? Can I not say value here? Oh no, you're not smart enough for this? Because in here, wait, are you smart enough to let me do it here? No. Damn, yeah, you're not that, it doesn't let, no, TypeScript here, it's not smart enough for this. So, fine, but now you saw how you would do it like the opposite way around. This is if you want to have an include guard. And then the clean way with TypeScript is the other way around though. You would say if it is some and else, you return your error. And in here, hopefully, the metadata... Oh no, I was just doing it wrong. I was back, revert, control Z. It should work like this. I was just checking the wrong thing. I was checking a different variable. I was doing this. Hold on. I need to put this right here. Then, yes, I get the value here. TypeScript is smart. I just wasn't. Nice. I like this. See how I'm getting excited about TypeScript? Fun. So the value is now the actual address. So maybe we should call this the maybe pointer address. And then the actual pointer address is this. And this thing now points to something, some account that has the metadata for your token. And now what you gotta do is, treat it differently based on what type of account that is. And the first indication of finding out what type of account that is to check who the owner is, right? Who owns that account. So first let's get that account. Metadata account from the RPC, get me the account info for this address that the metadata points to. Then I get the context and stuff, so I right away get the value of this, which is base 58 encoded bytes, because I am doing it manually. Wait, there must be a better function though. Can I have a get account info API? No, that's all of it. I want it already decoded. Can I have that already decoded? Or do I, hold on, just real quick, because I just want to check the owner. Yeah, that's already perfect. The data is in this encoding, but the fields that every account has, like the space, the lamperts, and what I want the owner. Shit, fuck. Nah, it's going if I click away. Shit. High production video, huh? Anyway, the owner, I can access. Maybe I need to check that it's actually present, but yeah, gonna keep doing those. Could not get account info for metadata pointer account. Let's call it metadata account. But then I can say owner, let the program handling metadata be this. I try to use speaking names. So the owner is always the program that owns the account. So if it's the metadata account, whoever owns it, that program is responsible for dealing with the metadata. So if that's the Metaplex program, the Metaplex token metadata program, then that program knows how the metadata is written, and you need to decode it based on how that program handles that. So now you gotta have different ways of handling your metadata. One way is if the program handling your metadata happens to be the token 2022 program, then I'm gonna say token the metadata is handled by token 2022. Or I'm gonna do more printing. I'm gonna say the metadata is handled by the program handling the metadata, and then here I just say metadata handled by token 2022. And now that we know that, we can do the check if, and I'm not sure if I need that check, but it's probably good to have it. The metadata account, so that's the account where the metadata is stored, is the same as my mint, can you not compare that? Address and, oh, metadata account, pointer address. That's what I called it. The pointer address, so that is the metadata account, just that this is the account info. I should have called that metadata account info. Fine, metadata account info. If the pointer address is the mint, then I can go the shortcut of, we already fetched that mint, so we can take that mint account and do the thing that we did earlier, here, and find the metadata extension and log the name. Let's also do the log of metadata is in token mint, and otherwise metadata is in a different token mint. Lol, I didn't think that was possible. We'll get there in a second. So that path is the same as we did earlier. We already have the extensions from up here where we checked all of the extensions and all the token extensions. We already have that. So I can now find the token metadata extension. I should put this on top. And then I get the metadata. I shouldn't call this extension. I just call this metadata. Boom. The actual metadata name. We can then access this. So really we need the token extensions we had from earlier. So let's actually see if that actually works. Let's check that actually works so far. Let's run it once. Get metadata from pointer. Smiling. Oh no! Encoded binary data should be less than 128 bytes. Please use base 60. Yeah. Okay. So because my account, in case you run into this error as well, my token mint has 400 bytes, and if it's more than what you say 128 bytes, it doesn't want base 58 encoding, which is the default anymore. So I need to request here that we have the encoding base 64 just for getting this account info. We're not reading the data anyway. We don't really care about the data. We could say, don't give me data. Can I say that? I don't think I can say that. It always gives me the data. So I'll just say base 64. Then I don't run into this issue. Try again. And yep. There you go. So the metadata is handled by token Z. So that's token 2022. Metadata is in token mint, and then we can read it directly. It's the token with metadata. Wonderful. What if it isn't in that mint though? Then I would have to do that same thing that I did here, like this thing, on different token extensions. So I could be like const extensions containing metadata is my token extensions, and then I'm going to use this here, unless the metadata is in a different token. Lol, I don't think that's possible, but maybe it is. Then I would need to, fetch that again. So basically what I did up here with the, where is it, fetch mint, and then get the extensions from the mint. So here I fetch mint with metadata. Wait, is there fetch? There is fetch all token, fetch maybe token, fetch all maybe token. A fetch all maybe token. That sounds about right. And we fetch the pointer address. Oh no, I don't want all. I just want one. I want one maybe token then. Maybe token. But no, token is a token account. Then it fetches token accounts. Then it is mint. Then we stay with mint. I just stay with mint. Because let's be honest, it can't be on a token account because the metadata extension must be on a token mint. So we need to fetch mint if it's handled by the token 2022 program. So the mint with metadata, maybe token extensions. At that point, I'm like, no, you have that. Extensions containing the metadata is this. And then that should also work here. My extensions, I'm gonna put that here as well. Oh, this is constant, not anymore. There you go, overwrite this. You are expecting, fine. Okay, let's do it in 2 steps. Fine. If we have extensions and those extensions are some, then we're gonna set it to extensions value, and else we report an error. Could not get mint account containing metadata. Return. And that way, I still do something wrong because I fetch that mint, and then it's so nice that it tells me you're not using this. Yeah, you're right. I'm not using this. I need to use this. Thank you. But this way, hopefully, now that should also work. If the metadata of that token is in a different token, don't ask me why. Well, actually, maybe that makes sense if you have a token and the same metadata, but several tokens, and then you basically just point to another token that has the same metadata. I mean, it could, there's maybe one or two use cases for that. So why not allow it? It's still weird. But hey, that way you would only need to manage one set of metadata for several tokens that could point to the same thing. I mean, while we have pointers in the first place, storing all of that stuff is expensive, right? There's a lot of data that we write into this account. It's like 400 freaking bytes. And, a good chunk of that is just the metadata. So if we have several tokens that should have the same metadata, why not recycle? Why not let one point to the other, even though I didn't think that was possible, but now I do think that's possible. So let's try if that's possible. Having fun with tokens. So let's build token create. First, Solana keygen grind starts with, I like how fast I type today, a token with foreign metadata. Do you think I'll get something like that? TVFM, TWFM. Do you think I get that? That's 4 characters. I don't think I will find that. Okay, screw that. A token with foreign metadata. Almost FOMO. I take that and I create the token the same way I did with the earlier token. Create token, enable metadata, and enable close. But then create this token FMO. So we said enable metadata. Now you tell me that I need to initialize metadata. But for now, if we check that, you don't have the metadata set like it's as before. We have this one and this one, those 2 extensions. And I don't want to initialize metadata on my own mint. I just want to have you point somewhere else. So I'm going to SBL token. What am I going to do? Update method address. Update. Updates the metadata pointer address for the mint. That's what I want. Update metadata address. The token update metadata address for this token with a foreign metadata. FOMO. That's the token. And how do I specify the address? I specify mint and then metadata address. Yeah, easy. So that's my token. And then the address is my token with metadata. This thing. Let's see. Can I do that? I can do that. Look at this. So the token with foreign metadata now has an address. We can check that in Explorer. It has metadata pointer and the close authority, no metadata itself, but the pointer points to the token with metadata. That does work. Fun. And then if we now check for this mint and get metadata from pointer, then also for this mint, look at this. Metadata is handled by a token 2022 and then metadata is in a different token. Lol, I didn't think that was possible. Well, we now know that it is possible though. Let me change that statement real quick. Because that is totally possible. And we never doubted it. Not a second. There. Because that's totally possible. We can have the metadata be stored in a different token. Sure, nice. And that also works that we then query the other token. If we would not do that check and ignore that path, then we would fail because our token doesn't have metadata. This token doesn't have a metadata extension. And that's, careful, it's getting bright, what Daniel pointed out here, that the metadata is not necessarily in that mint. The pointer could point somewhere else. And it can also point to another program. That's what we didn't check here. So if it's not our program, well, let's not log it. Who's the owner? Program handling the metadata. Program not supported. To do, add metadata support for other programs. Easy. But with that, we have the support for token 2022. So as long as it's token 2022 native, this will work. That whole thing here is, how far do I need to scroll out to have it all on one screen? That's my solution for the answer to your question. So I'm gonna copy this for you. My answer. You are on the right track with this. Here is a clean solution. Okay, and then we need a code snippet. Enter code here. Thanks for inspiring me with this question. I'll have a video coming out soon. Cool. And that video is here now. Post. I hope I didn't copy any of my private keys in here or whatever. But yeah, it's a nice solution. I like this. It's a bit longer than what you had here in this one-liner. Therefore, it uses the correct functions and checks for more things. And it's just cleaner TypeScript. It handles all of the error cases and doesn't support all programs, but you never do. Yeah. Good. And like this, I consider my job done. Bye-bye. Yeah. That's it. I'm happy with that. That was actually more fun than I thought. Such a simple question can inspire such a cool video. I learned that you can point to different mints with your metadata pointer. That's cool. And I learned how to properly do those things in TypeScript to not access private fields. Yeah, you just gotta know. But that's what I'm here for, helping you figure it out. So until next time, give me a like. Do subscribe if you haven't done that already and watch those other videos if you feel like learning more. And then I will see you in an upcoming one. Leave your questions on Stack Exchange. And if you have a cool question, like one that inspires a nice video, tag me. Most of the questions on the Stack Exchange are not so interesting, but that was a cool one. I enjoyed that one. So thank you, J. Frank. And I wish you and everyone good luck with your Solana development journey. See ya! That was cool. I enjoyed that. That was fun. Oh, nice video.